Hey everyone, it's me, Pastor and Bogad. I'm here to speak with you a little bit about um, objective thinking within the left hand path. That's so interesting because the reason why I say it is when I was first starting out, even though I had a good grasp, a good idea on what to expect and also what not to expect, because obviously I was just so full of passion in what I was doing, it was just out of love, that I was doing the things I do, without a full understanding of it. But yet I knew even earlier on, if you didn't have objective thinking or these small posts along the way that serves as small goals, well, you're not gonna get very far. I knew at one point that I had to really, let's say, advance my black magic or my understanding of it. Because after all, what's the point of even conjuring up a Gregor or a servitor or even practicing pyromancy, necromancy, anything of that sort of witchcraft and not have a objective way of seeing the world and the supernatural because you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, and that's how people get hurt. You see, that's why I'm saying in this particular video, it's really all about objective thinking. How are you going to get to A to B? And when I think about my own experiences, it really did bother me at times when I myself didn't have an answer to the questions that really mattered most. And that's when it dawned on me. I had to do some research. I had to not just get collective, let's say, ideas from other people that have been on the left hand path a lot more, longer than I have, but how am I supposed to apply that to myself and make what I do, versatile it and put it in my own words so that I could go ahead and be more objective and also successful in my magic. Well, one thing's for sure is that when I started to understanding how energy worked and how I could direct it, to program it, and to understand that energy itself doesn't have a necessary will to it. It's like energy itself, it's like it does what you want it to do. You just can't go do that and then it does it. It's like energy, just like electricity, it takes the path of least resistance. So, being the fact that if it doesn't have a mind of its own, it's simply just going to be sporadic on its own. But programming it, telling it what to do, and how to direct it, see, it's a huge difference maker in how you're able to be objective in getting the task done. But you know what? I realize, even though like I'm very knowledgeable now, and when it comes to how I'm able to get tasks done by objective thinking, do not get this twisted. That just because that you have a task and you are objective in your thinking, do not believe that you're going to get it right the first time. Hell, there's times when I do a ritual and I'm able to basically communicate with a particular daemon or not. Well, I end up being blown away. In other words, I don't get a precise and exact, let's say, answer at that particular time. So I end up, just blown away. I just go like, okay, fine, the ritual didn't work at that particular time. But then I started to catch on. See, I may not have gotten an immediate response at that time, but then I realized that, well, all it took was just moments later, even a day later, and then I got my response to the question that I've asked that particular Patreon. But you know what? I realized that when I was just starting out, when I was relatively new, a lot of individuals in forums, see, they would have been really upset that the daemon didn't really answer them immediately. Better yet, they didn't have objective thinking. They didn't know like these small goals that I was speaking about. They didn't even know like they didn't even exist. In other words, before you even communicate with the daemon, did you even know that time is different on their end? Did you know like they may have been working with another person at that particular time and moment. Things of that nature. It's just people believe like we live in a fast-paced world. It's about themselves, and the question to the answer should be immediate, right away. I mean, it's not our fault as a species. I mean, after all, we do have television and Hollywood that is to blame, and even our own imperfect and selfish way of thinking gets in the way. That's what I'm saying is just so apropos to this discussion that we really, really dig deep within our objective thinking, and we try to understand the small goalposts along the way so we're able to look at them, understand them, and see how they work. So before we even get to Z, right, the last place or the finale of it all, well, try to understand how you got there and really try to apply it. Because if you're not applying it, then what's the point of even doing it? It's like you're not really learning, and then when people leave the left hand path, not only did you leave for really stupid and immature reasons, I mean, you could have received your answer if you understood those small little goalposts. Like, after all, what if the daemon did give you a response and you just wasn't open enough? And that right there helps you to appreciate that perhaps you could have, had a better result if you just open up your chakras. I'm just saying, it's just one of those things where objective thinking along the way helps. That's why within the left-hand path, or even in the New Age, you have to understand that you need to be pragmatic, or in a spiritual sense, it's called being grounded. Now, of course, being too grounded or being too logical, it could really wipe away the supernatural experiences, because now everything must be logical, and you're just going to end up not really seeing it the way it should be. So there has to be a balance, light and dark, yin and yang. Like I said, it's going to take time to understand how things work, but it's really up to you and how you're able to perceive matters. Because after all, magic is really perceptive, or perspective rather, according to the individual magician. When I look at my shared reality alongside you, no wonder when we look at the same thing, it's different, because it's perspective, right? So, don't get it twisted, don't be too hard on yourself, give yourself time, and try not to take it too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. So that way, when you're experiencing your journey, you're going to benefit. Why? Well, because you're doing objective thinking along the way, and you appreciate those small little goals that you have learned through trial and error. So that way, hopefully like myself, you can make vids on YouTube, and you can help and teach other people so that they too could do the right thing along their journeys as well. So as always, friends, this is goodbye, or better yet, I see you in my next video. But please, friends, subscribe to my channel if you find this information worthwhile, and also smash that like button as well. Thank you so much, and see you in my next vids. See ya. Bye.